Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rohdey and Dizz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast. Dizz, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Better now.
Couple of great northern cans for the boys.
Couple of northern cans. Nothing better than having a few with you, mate. Recording episode 79. As you said, we've got a big episode coming up, Rohdey.
We do, Dizz. We've got Indy Thompson from the Tuna Champions, which is a great organisation down in Tasmania, doing some great stuff for looking after your catch, returning your fish safely to the water, just all around managing tuna well.
Yeah, and we don't want to give too much away about our conversation, but what I will say is I'm very envious of her job.
Oh, should have done marine science or something.
Yeah,
at uni.
Marine biology. Unbelievable what Indy gets up to. She fishes a lot of the comps. She gets around and does a heck of a lot of stuff regarding sort of awareness and promotion of good tuna fishing activities, and we look forward to having a chat with her later on today. Rohdey, let's get into the oranges and lemons because we do have a lot to get through in today's episode. Tell us about your orange, mate.
Dizz, we had a ripper weekend over Easter up on a houseboat, hired up from Woolcadine, the Woolshed Brewery. They hire out a few boats, which was really good. Went up there with the family. Lil didn't sleep the first night, but after that we're all good. And yeah, a bit of fishing, a bit of relaxing. Had 4 nights up there, so it was really good.
What was the wrap up from the floods?
I was surprised how back to normal it was.
Yeah, right.
It didn't seem...
Did they say any damage? None to their boats and all that sort of stuff?
No, the boats were fine. They said we were like the 4th or 5th group to rent them out, I think. So
they've obviously not done a lot.
No, like they've had a quiet 6 months.
Yeah.
But, yeah, plenty of people around the brewery over Easter, so they sort of made a bit of money back that they've been missing out on. And, yeah, they were really like just go and stay wherever you want, pull up wherever you want. There was no – I sort of thought they might have said, look, it's pretty bad. You should park in this spot or this spot because trees have fallen over and whatever else, but it was pretty normal.
Yeah, right. There you go. That's
Did go for a swim across the river and it was flowing hard.
Was it?
I was cooked.
Really?
I don't know, it was sucking them in by the other side.
What'd you race Pete across the other side?
Oh, Lucy wasn't that sure about the safety aspect, so
I doubt she would have been too happy.
She was on the paddleboard, keeping me safe.
On, yeah.
And actually, the biggest issue was her running over me.
yeah, no shit, no doubt. All right, Rohdey, well, I'll roll that into my orange, mate. We had a good weekend away over Easter. We had our fish-a-cue, as we call it. It's a fish barbecue for anyone who didn't pick up on that little, I don't know what you'd call it, but sort of play on words there. But
Is it a pun?
Yeah, pun. That might be the way to go. But Millie's family do their fish queue every Good Friday. Had a great day. I found a bit of kingfish in the freezer.
Oh, winning.
What a treat that was. Yeah. Good flex too, going to that sort of thing and just whipping out some kingfish sashimi. So that was very good. Then, went over to Black Point, had a great weekend. Weather didn't play the game.
Nah, it didn't. Wasn't a great forecast, was it?
But anyway, it was good. What was your lemon, mate?
Dizz, we're certainly no river freshwater experts, but I did have some hopes of catching some natives, particularly on one of the days we put up the houseboat right near a nice looking creek, good backwater. Thought, here we go, I'll pull out a callop or a Murray cod or something. Jesus, there was some carp. My God, there's some carp in that river. The floods hasn't helped. It's made it worse.
How many did you catch, do you reckon?
40. Double headers. Actually, at one stage, this was a good one. So we had them off the side of the houseboat while we were watching the footy and having a few beers and whatever else. And bell goes off, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, start winding in and there's a flapping around about 10 metres away and then a flapping around about 10 metres away. Somehow I'd got a double head of carp. The double paternoster rig had it had busted the swivel between the two. So one was theoretically loose, but that had got tangled up on the rope with the sinker. So that wasn't actually connected to the main line, but somehow we got caught 2 fish, popped the swivel, and we've got them both.
Are you kidding me?
So it was all happening.
Oh, jeez.
But we will talk about that a bit later on in the fishing report, Dizz.
Yep, fair enough.
But
mate.
what about you, mate?
Good.
What's your lemon?
My lemon, and again, I think we'll touch on this a little bit more later on in the fishing report, but we didn't get out much mainly because of the weather, but when we did, we got out there and we were fishing some grounds not too far from Ardrossan, and there was a pro squidding boat out there, and my goodness, he was a pro. He was catching 5 to our 1.
They're impressive, aren't they? For something that seems so simple. We've done this before. I remember that day at Port Vincent was the same.
Yeah.
Did I actually, talking about that day at Port Vincent, did this one have a shirt on?
Yeah, he did, mate. It was so cold. If he didn't have a shirt on, he wasn't coming home.
Remember that? That was the middle of winter, that bloke. It was the middle of winter.
Well, it was
no
a nice
shirt.
day, but it was still cold.
Oh.
And he, had no shirt.
But so you got done.
Oh, we got cleaned up because we saw him pulling in and we were like, we're going to clean up because we were fishing the grounds before he got there.
Yeah.
So when they got there, we were like, we're in the right spot. And, outfished. Anyway, let's touch on that a little bit later on today in the report. Rohdey, what do we got coming up?
Rohdey and Dizz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and will give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Dizz, this one is very topical with my little whinge about the carp thing, and this is something I read on the Advertiser during the week. So Wreckfish has teamed up with some local Mount Gambier fishers with a plan they've drawn up to introduce the native species of the Murray cod into the Mount Gambier Valley Lake to combat the invasive European carp and provide a fishing opportunity for southeast residents. What do you think about that, Dizz?
Well, I mean, look, I love it. I'm all about fish stocking programs and getting more people into fishing in general, but I thought the opposite would have happened.
It's interesting, Dizz. The plan is to introduce 1,200 non-native trout and 2,500 mature Murray cod will be introduced into the lake, with 2 sections on the north and south end sectioned off to exclude boats and jet skis from the area. So maybe that's it, the fact that it's mature Murray cod.
Yeah.
You know, I get if you put fingerlings in, they're probably not going to make it.
Yeah, true. I suppose if you get them, the mature ones in there, you're probably looking more optimistic chances.
Does also say there's an annual carp fishing competition to help get rid of them. So maybe the problem down there is not quite as bad as what it is in the Murray.
Yeah.
Because, you think if you put them in the Murray, the carp are still going to dominate.
Yeah.
But this is budgeted at $67,200 with estimates, and they predict the investment would break even at roughly the 6-month mark and earn roughly $142,000 per year in permits and tournaments.
Well, that's pretty good.
So, yeah.
Wonder whether that's factoring in the new economic figures released around recreational fishing to the communities, Rohdey.
Dizz, I don't know, mate. I can't tell you that. But, so Asher Desiree is quoted here saying they'd be involved sort of in setting up the project, but not necessarily, running it in the long term. And Andy Barton is the Mount Gambier resident who seemed to have got the ball rolling, and he's quoted here in this article.
Good on you, Andy. Rohdey, while we're on the topic of sort of Murray River species, what do we got happening there, mate? There's some Murray River crayfish reintroduction.
This is an interesting one, Diz. So this is the Nature Glenelg Trust who's pushing this one, and they can officially announce that the second largest freshwater crayfish in the world, the Murray crayfish, will be reintroduced into the Murray River in South Australia.
Wow.
So it says that idea was first proposed in the 1980s, not long after it was thought to have disappeared, and it's taken almost a decade of planning. Doesn't quite add up. According to my maths, that's 40 years of planning. But it talks about a project in partnership with the Murray Lands and Riverland Landscape Board and is supported by Northwest Agriculture. So I don't have much more info on that one, Diz. That's only really popped up today, but we will follow that along.
Do you reckon they're good chewing?
I think if they're having that much trouble keeping them alive, you won't be chewing too many of them. Is my honest feedback on this?
I know that they're going to be. But, like, in terms of...
You've also got a delicate stomach and can't eat anything fun like yabbies, so you might not be able to eat them anyway.
I can eat lobster and crays.
I think these are closer to a yabby than a...
Yeah, I'd
anyway,
say so.
I don't think you'd be eating them anyway, but I don't know.
Should we test it under supervised conditions?
We'll go park in the bra. Waiting bay.
Anyway, good to see some activity in that space. Rohdey, let's move on from the freshwater and move into the salty stuff. O'Sullivan's Beach boat ramp closed officially.
I think it closes late April.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
And this wasn't sort of a confirmation. There's just now a sign that's popped up. You know, one of those...
like a traffic management sign.
Yeah, that's popped up saying closed from late April. And I think it said for most of the year.
Yeah, well, they did say, I think there was something about late September, October.
Yeah, and I think then that automatically made people think this is going to blow out rather than, happen shorter.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would have thought there's some pretty significant upgrades going on there. I know that there's been a fair bit of work just to do with the kind of car parking and area more generally, but anytime they start to get involved in works that are to doing specifically with the ramp, they always tend to take longer. West Beach is a good example.
Yeah, it's normally longer rather than shorter would be my summary.
Watch this space. We don't have a lot of information to hand right at the minute, Rohdey, but we'll definitely be following that one.
We've just got so much fresh info tonight that
we're breaking it.
We're still getting the info. We'll have it next week.
Yeah. That's it. Righto, this one we do have some confirmed news about, of course, the Kingscote Jetty now complete. The
Done.
Upgrades.
Actually, I saw that. That was a good little post I saw.
So the council has been advised by the South Australian Infrastructure and Transport Department that the jetty is open to public, and that was early April. So I think it was April the 5th, which is great. That's been quite a long time coming as well, but some well overdue upgrades. Lovely part of the world, of course, Kingscote. That is a jetty that does do very well on the winter whiting, Rohdey.
Yes.
We cover that quite a bit during our sort of winter fishing reports. And, we'll look forward to seeing some more posts, no doubt a bit more user-friendly and, be a bit of a nicer facility for everybody using it down there. Yeah,
we can't wait. Hopefully that's done sort of sooner rather than later, particularly if the tuna get around that part again.
Absolutely. Rohdey, this weekend, of course, is the Happy Valley Resi Day.
Yes, we can't get along, unfortunately. We're going to have a word to your wife about planning her 30th on fishing days.
Bit disappointing when you have a clash like that. I think we all know where I'd rather be.
Probably not where you're going to be.
Probably not where I'm going to be. Absolutely. But, no, we'll have a bit of fun either way. But, of course, get yourself down there. There's going to be a great showing. There's Wreckfish SA will be down there doing the great work they do, spreading the message. There'll be, I'm hearing sausage sizzle.
Yeah, there's sausage sizzle. There's native fish workshops. There's raffles. Does say fishing gear provided to be used. And they're encouraging you to RSVP to admin@wreckfishsa.org.au for Eventbrite registration and info pack.
Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be a lot of people down there. There's quite a bit of parking there.
Yeah, there is.
But there's not an enormous amount. You know, they just want to have a good idea on numbers. So, of course, if you're planning on heading down there, then RSVP, you'll get yourself a bit of info, which never goes astray.
And 10 a.m. to 1:30, that is.
Yeah, get there for 10 a.m., sort of lock yourself in, maybe flick a line, see if you can't catch a cod or two.
Get in early.
You'll be laughing. All right, Rohdey, one last little news item before we wrap up the news segment for this week is, of course, the great work that Wreckfish has been doing on behalf of all of us anglers. There's been an extension of the Goolwa cockle season through to the 23rd of August.
Yeah, this was to do with the E. coli, I think, Dizz, wasn't it?
It was. So it had been closed down and, Wreckfish got to work in negotiations and discussions with the Minister, of course, Claire Scriven, and been a fantastic outcome, really, to see that Goolwa cockle season's been extended. So you'll be able to get down there up until the 23rd of August. I think it's usually the 1st of June off the top of my head that it
sounds about right, but I suppose this extension is due to all the time that was missed to the E. coli.
But in previous years, that hasn't been the case. I'm not saying that E. coli closed down previous years for this long.
Yeah.
But certainly where there's been, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks out because of E. coli detection in the cockles, they haven't extended it.
No, they haven't.
So this is pleasing to see.
It is a step in the right direction.
And on that, I have seen some good catches of some pippies lately.
Have you? Yeah,
Cockles.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should go.
We should. We definitely should.
We talk a big game about that every year.
Yeah, we do. We do. Rohdey, let's get into it, mate. We've got the tackle item.
Now it's time for Rohdey and Dizz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
Dizz, this is a topical one for the fishing I have been doing over the weekend on the houseboat.
Yes.
Dizz, it is it's a bit of a controversial one too, actually. It's the Opera House Yabby Net.
Okay.
Now, we've used them over the years. Is that fair?
Oh, mate, been throwing opera houses into the river or dams for years.
So what's the issue, you may ask, Dizz? Well, I actually encountered the issue on the weekend. So they've been illegal in other states for a while. I think they're banned in New South Wales, Victoria, ACT and Tasmania. And we'll talk about what's happening in South Australia. So these Opera House nets, there's been concerns that they can kill native animals such as the water rodent, which is called the Racali. Yeah. Racali, I don't know how you say that, but it's like a native freshwater rat.
Right.
And also platypuses, which we don't want to see.
No, of course not.
Unfortunately, we did maybe drown a Racali on the weekend.
By mistake.
Accidentally. Like we went back to check our nets after having them in the water for probably a half of a footy game. Probably a half of the the Fremantle Crows game. So what's that, an hour and a half?
Yeah, about that.
Anyway, came back and we found one that had unfortunately gone in to get the bait or the yabbies or whatever else and had drowned.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
So they can't get out of the Opera House net. So that's why they're pushing for them to be banned.
Okay.
And I've never seen that. As I say, we've done quite a few houseboat trips over the years and we've never seen that.
No, yeah. I couldn't tell you what a Racali looks like.
We've seen turtles in there,
yes,
but they've always been fine.
Yeah.
But the Racali gets in there, can't get out and drowns. So unfortunately, we were semi-responsible for this accident on the weekend, but it does outline why these nets are probably on the way out.
Yeah, you'd probably review your practices there, wouldn't you?
I actually threw them out. We didn't bring them back. They're in the bin at the Woolshed Brewery.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So what do you do now?
So the reason for that is there was, under the previous state Liberal government, I'm just reading this article that was on the ABC website earlier in the year. I don't know how we actually missed this for the fishing news, but anyway. So the previous state Liberal government and the MARFAC, which was the body at the time, recommended that Opera House nets be phased out by the end of June this year, 2023. So, however, obviously the state Labor government has taken over, has reinstated RecFish as the peak industry body instead of MARFAC. So there is some uncertainty about the decision now.
Okay.
So I don't know whether it will be banned by June 2023. But we will, we'll follow this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a quote here from RecFish SA Executive Officer Asher Desiree, who has said, slowly we'll get there and these more sustainable and just as efficient methods will be phased in. So I think what they're pushing towards is it's called a pyramid net, I think. And it has an opening at the top, so the platypuses, the Racali and things like that can get out. Okay. But hopefully the yabbies stay in.
Yes. Yeah, you'd think so.
So that's what we wanted to talk about today, Dizz. So I've personally ditched our Opera House nets. I've gone early.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
After the horrific Racali incident.
Not good.
No, it wasn't good. It was quite a sad incident.
Yeah. Did you get any yabbies in that net?
There was a couple in that net.
What did you use for bait?
Couple of offcuts from the butcher.
Yeah, okay.
And then we did put a bit of carp in later on once we sort of lost some of the goodness out of the meat.
Yeah. Getting carp into a yabby net just takes me back to that time on the river when we sort of donated our carp to
Donnie and the boys.
Donnie and co. Anyway, story for another time. Rohdey, great tackle item, by the way, mate. Well done.
Thanks, Dizz. I was that just came to me in a moment of wisdom on the houseboat.
Yes, love it. All right, let's get our guest on.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
Righto, Rohdey, we are very lucky to be joined by a tuna champion herself, Indy Thompson, Tuna Champion Project Manager. Thank you very much for coming on the show. How are you?
Hi team, thanks for having me. I'm good. Very excited to chat to you today.
Yes, we are very much looking forward to it. We've followed your Tuna Champions work on social media for a long time now and love what you guys do. But before we get into the specifics, let's start with those 5 questions we ask all our guests. This first one might be a loaded question, but tell us about your best fish.
Look, I've been fortunate enough to catch a lot of decent fish in my life, but there is one that stands out, and that was a 750-pound black marlin on a lure up in Queensland, not last year, the year before. So it was an absolute dream fish. I'd wanted to catch it for a very long time, and I was fortunate enough to catch it with my dad on board. So for me, that was the whole package.
How good is that? That is a monster fish.
It is certainly a fish of a lifetime for me, but it's really started something. It's sparked a fire because now I want to go back and find the 4-digit grander.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get it in?
Look, I think that one was just over 10 minutes just to touch a leader and, get a good look at her boat side and then cut it off and let her go. So didn't take too long. I wasn't in the hurt locker for a very long time.
Jeez, that's epic. That's amazing. All right, Indy, tell us your favourite thing about fishing.
Oh, this is a no-brainer for me, team. This is absolutely a no-brainer. It's being with my friends and family. Like, at the end of the day, if you don't catch a fish, it doesn't matter. It's about being on the water and, taking every minute to realise what's important in your life. And usually that's the people that I'm fishing with. So that's absolutely the big one for me.
Beautiful. We love that, Indy. Now tell us, what's your first fishing memory or what got you into it?
Oh, this is really tough. See, both of my parents met in the game fishing scene and, they've been fishing and married for 30 years. So I didn't really have much of a choice, and I'm not complaining about that.
That's not a bad thing either.
But I really didn't have much of a choice. My mum was still catching tuna when she was like 9 months pregnant with me. Oh. So I was pretty much straight out of the womb and onto a boat. Yeah. And so it's all I've ever known. But for me, I predominantly enjoy game fishing, and I suppose when I was 13 or 14 years old, I caught my first bluefin tuna, and I think that was what sparked it. And I love this, and I want to do this for the rest of my life. So
that's epic. That's epic. Geez, you've beaten us to the punch. We didn't catch a tuna for quite a few years, Rohdey. So
we were amateurs compared to that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's impressive.
We just put it down to my location. You can't beat that.
Indy, this. We've actually heard this, but your favourite sort of fishing and why?
Game fishing for me. There is nothing more thrilling than watching a large fish jump at the back of the boat, and it's just the sheer size of it, the heavy tackle, the adrenaline just pumps through your body. You have to work hard to catch the fish. The feeling is indescribable, and until somebody's actually done it and seen the enjoyment that it can bring and the expense that comes with it,
that's right,
and physically, you just don't get it. So I love it, and it will always be my favorite type of fishing. I love all fishing, but that for me is the pinnacle.
Yeah, beautiful, good stuff. Now, you must have had a funny fishing story or the one that got away.
Oh. Yeah, to go one, we'll go with the one that got away. I lost a swordfish after 11 and a half hours 2 years ago. And I lost it by the boat, and it was I'm actually going for a particular record, and we'd hooked this fish earlier in the day, and my old man said, "This is not the fish we want. Like, this is too big. Cut it off." And I said, "Nah, you're not cutting it off. Like, if I lose it, it's going to be because something's gone wrong.
You've had a good crack at it anyway.
Not going to be because we've cut it off." And 11 hours later, we popped it right next to the boat, but it was pretty eerie. I was exhausted. It was pouring with rain. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. We were on the shelf using the deck lights all that we could and to the best of our ability. But all you'd see are these diamond lights, just literally flashing in the water. So we only got an initial look at the fish at probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that was all we saw of it until we popped it off. So
out of all the people we've asked that question to, I reckon that takes the cake.
Oh, definitely the one. 11 and a half hours. That's epic.
It's not a memory I look upon fondly.
It's a bloody good story, though.
Oh, we couldn't have done anything differently. And look, to be honest, the fish won its freedom. I actually felt relief, and I don't usually feel that, but I definitely felt relief because my body was struggling a little bit, and yeah, it was time to go in for a beer. And the special part was when we got to the boat ramp. I had a lot of the local community there, and they were waiting for us to come in with a fish. But all our phones had gone flat. So, it was really special to see the lights shining at the boat ramp when we were coming in.
Oh, wow. That's such a great story. You're going to be at home rocking yourself to sleep with PTSD after us making you relive that.
Just one of many things that sets it off.
Epic. All right, Indy, thank you very much for going through those 5 questions. Been really much looking forward to having a chat with you about everything that you get up to with the Tuna Champions. So tell us a bit about your journey so far, and, of course, how people can get involved as a Tuna Champion.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Tuna Champions is a stewardship program that was funded by the FRDC about 4 years ago. And what our role is basically to give recreational fishers all of the education that they need so that they can take to the water and apply best practices when catching tuna. So for us, our primary role is touching base with fishers both in person and online over social media, at events. And basically we just give you our 5 tiles, which are anything from catch right through to serving something up on your plate with a bit of wasabi and soy, and the best way that fishers can employ those practices and reap the rewards of that. So if you jump online, you can find all of our information on our website, on our social media, or if you've got a really big event coming up, give me a call. I'll pack my suitcase and come over. So we get involved in a lot of different ways, but for those who are looking to get involved, definitely touch base with us over socials. That's probably the easiest way.
Beautiful. Yeah, like you say, you've got a great presence on social media and lots of really informative stuff. So we'd certainly recommend everyone jumps on board and follows you on Instagram and all that. We got you still, Indy?
Yeah, sorry. I lost you there.
Oh, sorry. All good. Sorry, you just went blank. That's all good. Now, let's keep going. So can you tell us a bit about your background? Obviously, you grew up in fishing. How did you sort of come to be where you are today?
Yeah, this is a bit of a fork in the road moment. They say everybody has one, and I had one when I was 16 years old. I caught a swordfish. I came in to weigh it, and it was a world record. And at the time, Paul Worsling and Sean Tracy, who's my current boss, were in Tassie filming and sat tagging swordfish for research. And they walked over, they shook my hand, and I said, "Oh, how are you going? I'm Indy, nice to meet you." And they said, yeah, I'm good. We're sword fishing down here. And they said, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, I'm going to school. And they said, no, you're not. Pack your bags. We're going fishing. So
best day of your life.
School to go and film a show and do a bit of research. And we ended up tagging a swordfish. And I said, this is the greatest thing ever. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And so I went to university. I did 4 years at university and then came out and pretty much straight into the Tuna Champions program. So there's an avenue definitely that marine biology isn't just about looking at the study of animals anymore and in particular marine animals, but it's also about a way that you can give back to something that you love, whether that be recreational fishing, whether that be taking care of seagrasses, you name it. There's a way you can tie it back in now. And social science is really important, and that's kind of the avenue that I came in from. So, yeah, it's not just looking at coral or playing with dolphins. There's a whole heap of things you can do.
That's so cool. That's such an awesome story. That's a lot of young anglers' dream, I reckon, just bumping into one of the greatest or two of the most respected people in the industry, I suppose, and then being asked to go out to fish with them. So that's pretty epic.
No, absolutely. And look, I've maintained a really good friendship, and Paul Worsling's a mentor to me and has helped me so much in my career. both personally and recreational fishing, and same with Sean Tracy, and now him being my boss. It's a fork in the road moment. They say things happen for a reason, and I was meant to catch that fish that day because it's led to me having the career that I have now.
Yeah, awesome. That's epic. All right, Indy, we did want to talk to you about the growth of tuna populations more broadly. Can you talk us through some of that? It's been really good to see.
Yeah, I love speaking about this because it's a good news story. And so often, when you hear a lot about fisheries, there's not always nice things to say. But when you talk about, in particular, the southern bluefin tuna fishery, it's come back from being on the brink, absolutely on the brink, to tuna, being in a much larger abundance at the moment, than they have ever been in my lifetime anyway. So they had a lot of fishing pressure back in the 80s and 70s and 80s, and in the last few decades they've come back due to relieving some of the commercial fishing pressures, and now we're seeing a fishery where people are going out and catching southern bluefin tuna off their local boat ramp and so close to home. I caught one last year that was in 8 meters of water, and it's just it's unheard of. So they're definitely coming back. You can even see at the moment with the fishing off Portland. Back in the day, you speak to a lot of anglers, and 100 kilo plus tuna was unheard of. It was insane. It was a fish of a lifetime. And now people are tagging 6 or 7 of them in a day.
Yeah.
They've definitely come back. They're abundant, and we've got a long way to go. They're still recovering, but yeah, it's good to see we're on the right path.
Yeah, it's been great. And here in South Australia, it's been really good this summer to see the tuna so far up the Gulf. I'm sure you're aware of that, but it's another one of those sort of fascinations of, is it the dirty water from the Murray, or is it the growth in the species? It'll be very interesting to watch over the coming years.
Absolutely. And I'm really keen to see, the anglers change as well with it. We're noticing that a lot of people now are wanting to release tuna, instead of keeping what they need for a feed, but also releasing a lot. And whereas 20 or 30 years ago, that might not have been the case. So, we're not only are we seeing a change in the abundance of tuna, but we're also seeing a change in the way that, recreational anglers are participating in the sport. So it's great to see.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And that leads us to the next question for you, Indy. So for everybody out there who is either thinking about going for a fish very soon and they're targeting tuna, what are your top tips for caring for them? What do most people sort of miss or forget?
Look, for me, and I say this to everybody, preparation prevents poor performance. You can't beat being prepared. Whether you're taking to the water to dispatch a fish or release a fish, you need to plan for everything. If you decide that you're taking to the water, you're going to release fish, you're going to choose to run single hooks, using knotless landing nets. Simple little changes like that can change the survivorship for a fish. So if you catch a fish on a treble hook, its chance of surviving is around 60%. If you make the switch to a single, it goes up to 85%, which is just insane. Like, I don't know about you, but 25% is a lot of interest. Yeah. And I say to people, you go to a hospital and you walk into a door in one room, you go into a surgery and they say you've got a 60% chance of living, or you go into the other door with 85%.
I know where you're heading.
I know, I know which door I'm walking through. It ain't a small difference. So, simple things like changing the singles, or even going, okay, I'm planning on releasing all of the fish that I catch today. Even running single hooks, you can expect a fatality. That's a part of fishing. So taking ice with you, making sure you've got chill bags, making sure you've got a Nicky Genie kit. There are heaps of steps, but I promise you they pay off when the fish is on your plate or you're putting the fish back in the water to swim another day. You want to give it the best chance and pay homage and respect your catch. So my biggest thing would be prepared, and be prepared for everything. Make sure that you've got all the bases covered. So you're doing the right thing by you and the catch.
Yeah, beautiful, Indy. We'll follow on from that. When you do, gut hook a fish, or you do a bit of damage and you have to take one home, what's your number one go-to recipe, or how do you like to cook them?
Oh, this is really interesting. That's actually a really good question. So obviously, for me, fresh is best. So you can't really beat sashimi with a bit of wasabi and soy. But when you're talking about fish that are 100 kilos, you can expect to yield 60% of that meat. Yeah. So that's 60 kilos of meat. And I can eat, don't get me wrong, but I can't eat that much. So, even smoking tuna is really, really cool. We've got all of our recipes online that'll show you how to take care of your catch if you're planning on smoking them. But basically, the biggest thing for me is not so much I'll change my recipes depending on, the size of my fish and what I want to do with it, but it's utilizing the whole fish. That's probably the most important thing for me. We went to work with a celebrity chef in New South Wales recently, and he was actually blowtorching the tuna, and it was just incredible, and using like the collars and the jowls for soup broths. So even though I don't quite have that cooking expertise, I would say thinking outside of the box and, using some of those recipes, it would be my favorite way to eat it, because it's not just your standard run-of-the-mill sashimi.
Yeah, that's epic. And you're right. Once you sort of start learning about these things, and when you are you can come up with some pretty amazing things when you do take home that fish. And you're right. If that's, if you are using all of the fish and taking good care of it, one fish is generally enough. Like you want to be a big eater, or you want to have a lot of people in your family that want to take home the bag, because you want those people lining up at the boat ramp ready to take home their fair share. That's for sure.
Absolutely. It just goes such a long way, and you really can use the whole fish. I've seen people use the frames for fertilizer, the skin for dog treats. Like it really, you can, if you want to use it all, you can use it all. So, keeping one fish is certainly a lot of meat, especially when you're talking about our average size down here is 20 kilos.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot of meat.
Yeah, well, we had that problem, didn't we, Dizz? We went down to Port Mac last year targeting barrel, didn't get one, came home with a couple of school fish, planning on giving them out to our friends and family. Then bang, we got COVID on the way home. Couldn't do anything, couldn't give them away. So we ended up making about 20 jars of preserved tuna.
Oh, geez.
And that's a great way to make it last, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. Rather than having tuna mornay, tuna.
Well, that's what we said, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. Smoking tuna and canning tuna it's one of the most common ways that people consume it. So it is popular.
Yeah. Hey, Indy, you're at the World Fishing Conference recently. Did a presentation there. That was a good weekend or a few days.
Absolutely. The World Rec Fishing Conference was amazing, just to get a group of scientists together who are leaders in their field. There's no other way to put it. But when you put a group of minds together, they think alike, and it's more so what you leave with from the conference. We gain a lot of ideas from other countries, and in particular other fisheries, and how that may potentially work for us here, both in Tasmania and Australia. And it was a big week. I'm exhausted because it backed onto the Ultimate Fishing Expo, which was huge. So it was a big few days, but it was a great experience.
All right, now, Indy, we want to talk about your experience sort of travelling the country. We're obviously a South Australian podcast, and we want to sort of compare the tuna fishing here compared to the other states. What's, different, what's good about it, and also how SA fishers, I suppose, target tuna differently. Do the different states have a bit of a different method of going about it?
Yeah, look, absolutely you do. It's interesting. So the first thing, obviously, is size classing. You see a lot of different size fish everywhere you go. I mean, in particular in Tasmania, where I'm from, we don't seem to get fish from, say, 40 to 70 kilos. That's a less common size. You go to New South Wales, you see them quite commonly. In South Australia, you get the smaller fish, or you get something really, really big.
Yeah.
So, just the different size classes is pretty amazing to begin with. But the way that you target them in particular, there's a lot of bait fishing that goes on for you as well for those big barrels. You're obviously running lures. In Tassie, we predominantly just run lures. In New South Wales, they obviously do a bit of both. It really depends on who you like to fish with. For us, we can't do it because of seals. We just can't seem to get past seals here in Tassie, so it's not a very common way of fishing. So it is literally lures, or it's bycatch when you're deep dropping for swordfish. That are about the only two ways that you'll catch bluefin in Tassie, or if you're brave enough, getting in the water with them and spearing one. Yeah. But that's not for me. I'll stick to the top of the water. But predominantly how you catch them, I suppose it really depends on who you go and who you fish with. And that's the biggest thing that I've seen. Everyone's got their incredible techniques, and I've fished with some people that I swear speak tuna.
That's not us, Indy.
It blows my mind. They make it happen, and call them the 1%ers. You know, when you can't get a bite, they make them bite. It's just something. Richie Abella is one of them, and I hope he's listening to this because he'll get a big head when I say this. He does deserve it. He's one of them. He's one that just makes it happen, and he knows what he needs to do. You know, you've got certain fishos that will just work one bait ball all day. So instead of moving around, they'll pick one and they'll just do circles around this bait ball for 8 hours. And when they come up, they're there. So it really does depend on who you're fishing with. That's a tough one. But state-wise, it does change a little bit. Like I said, we don't bait fish. I was watching a great video of Lee Rayner and Aaron Red fishing the other day, catching. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
today,
I saw that. Yeah,
that was awesome.
Down at Portland, I think, weren't they?
Out of Portland. The hairs just stood up on the back of my neck. Like, that is so cool.
Yeah, it is, and that's a great little segue to the barrel season they're having down there. So far, it's pretty epic what's going on down there with the amount of fish being caught. And I mean, you mentioned Red and that they released a lot of fish that day, which was great to see. So yeah, tell us some of your tips for those who might be thinking about getting down and chasing a barrel. Clearly, an enormous amount of ice to keep those big fish cold.
Yeah. If you're planning on keeping a fish, ice is essential, and so is the whole ikijimi process. Really, like if you miss a step, you will notice it. And if you're going to dispatch a fish, your first thing is going to be brain spiking the fish and making sure that you're actually getting that brain spike down to eye level. So that's really important. That's one of the big things we notice with larger fish is that people think they've gone deep enough, but they just haven't. So if you can get the bottom of that spike down to eye level, from then you want to bleed. And I put a post up recently about, how to bleed tuna correctly. And one of the big mistakes people make is that they just cut too deep. And what happens cut past that artery and the blood just runs straight back into the meat. So you want a really shallow nick behind the pec fins, both pec fins. Then you're going to move to obviously gutting. You're going to be gutting and gilling your fish as well. If you're bringing it in, you don't want to be bringing a fish in whole unless it's a record, because gutting and gilling not only removes or minimises the chance of spoilage, but it removes the mass in the fish, which means that you can cool it quicker. You're going to be pithing your fish, and often people put this in the too hard basket. They go, I'm not running a wire down its back. That just sounds too complex. Yeah. But what it actually does, little known fact, is that it breaks all the nerves down in the spinal cord, so the muscle stops twitching. And when the muscle stops twitching, it stops producing heat. So if you miss the pithing step, the fish just continues to warm inside. They're endothermic fish, which means that they generate their own body temperature, unlike most other fish, which are ectothermic. And that means they can just rely on the outside of the ambient water temperature to work out where they want to live. So we have to, as fishers, account for that and make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to get that core temperature down. And I was saying to someone the other day that to give you an idea of how long it actually takes to chill these fish, if we caught a 35 kilo tuna and we put it in a -1 degree ice slurry after following all those steps I just told you about, after 6 hours, the internal temperature of that fish is still 13 degrees. So you think that fish's temperature is coming down. It absolutely isn't. And if you speak to any of the commercial fishers, ideally you want to keep those big fish on ice and in that slurry for up to 48 hours. And that's not just to get the internal temperature as close to zero as you possibly can, but that's also so that the meat sets, because it's like the protein sets in the meat. So if you don't do that, you'll find when you come back and you fillet your fish, it actually is quite mushy. So if you can, the general rule of thumb is a kilo of ice to a kilo of meat. And you're going to go, no way, if I'm catching 100 kilo fish, am I taking 100 kilos of ice with me on a boat? And I wouldn't recommend that at all. What I would recommend is taking enough to get that slurry going. Yeah. So that 1-to-1 ratio actually is over the duration of the 48 hours. That's not just for your day on the boat. That's coming back, crack a beer, don't worry about filleting it. You've done all the hard work and come back to it in 2 days and just keep adding ice to that slurry. So if you're dispatching fish, that would be a big one. If you're releasing fish off Portland at the moment, minimize your fight times. If you're taking to the water and you're planning on releasing fish for the day, fish heavy gear, as heavy as you possibly can, heavy leader. You know, if you've got the fish boat side, do your best to minimize the amount of time that you got it got it alongside the boat and it's under stress. Try not to put a fixed gaff in the corner of its mouth, because what you're doing is just generating another hole that it has to repair. So if you can control the fish on the leader and pop a fixed gaff under its tail, not in it, just under it, and just lift that propeller out of the water, basically. Give you a bit more control if you want that boat side photo. But yeah, the big one we're seeing is a lot of people putting fixed gaffs in the corner of mouths, and it's just creating another hole. Although you're releasing the fish, it's something else the fish has to repair. So if they are looking for something, jump over to Ebb Tide and Tackle and grab a pair of their heavy duty lip grips. They are absolutely amazing. They work a treat. They'll give you full control by the boat without having to stick or make another hole in the corner of a fish's mouth. So they would probably be my biggest tips. And I'm seeing a lot of fish coming in that are whole, but a little trick: if you decide to gut and gill it so that you get the best meat quality, keep the guts and gills with you, weigh them separately, add it to the clean weight, and you've got your whole weight. So you don't actually need to keep the fish whole, to work out the size of your catch. You can still follow the Ikijimi process and get a whole weight.
Beautiful. Indy, there's some really great tips for anyone that is heading down to Portland or Port Mac or wherever you're heading. So that's really good for the listeners to hear.
No worries. Hopefully, and if they want any more information, jump over to Tuna Champions, and we'll be doing some targeted posts in the coming weeks just about some things that to keep in mind if you are taking to the water off Portland with these large fish. So keep your eyes peeled.
Beautiful. Now, Indy, before we let you go, tell us what's next on the Tuna Champions agenda. You're travelling around. We've seen you down at Victor Harbour. You're heading over to Port Lincoln. Tell us what's next on the radar.
Well, we have some really exciting news, and we launched probably about 6 months ago to expand Tuna Champions to include all tuna. So now we are not just focused on southern bluefin tuna, but we're focused on yellowfin, longtail, albacore, skipjack, you name it, and we're trying to focus on it. So we were going to go that way. We had to make sure that what we were doing with SBT worked and that fishers were absorbing the education, and hopefully we're starting to see that change now. And we thought, well, it's timely to expand to all species. And yellowfin for us was really important because not only does it, cover another popular recreational game fishing species, but it also gives us that geographic reach. Predominantly, Tuna Champions looked at the southeastern coast of, Australia, and being Tasmania, South Australia, Victoria and New South Wales in many cases. But now with yellowfin, we can expand not only nationally but also globally. So that's the big one for us. Watch this space, and you'll see posts coming out in the near future of some upcoming changes. But yeah, catching tuna in general, the processes and the best practices that we give recreational anglers they can use on most tuna. So it was only a matter of time before we included them all.
How good, Indy. You're going to have to clone yourself, I think. You're going to be very, very busy, and you've been very generous with our time. With your time. We really do appreciate it, and thank you for all your tips. So, jump on the socials, give Tuna Champions a follow, and thank you very much, Indy, for coming on the show.
No worries. Thank you so much, team, and I hope you get the chance to get into a few large barrels at Portland soon, or maybe Port Mac a little later in the year.
Beautiful. Thanks, Indy.
Cheers. Thank you.
Fantastic stuff, Rohdey. It's very good to hear from Indy.
Dizz, I think we can all take a lot from that.
Yeah, we can. And there's, obviously a lot of timely reminders in there, whether you're down chasing barrels or whether you're sort of lucky enough to get some late season bluefin tuna. I know they've been going quite well down at Allthorpe's. We'll talk on that a bit more in the report. So let's get into that, mate. Let's get into the report.
Rohdey and Dizz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Rohdey, I'll let you start us off in the fishing report this week, mate. Tell us about the houseboat wrap-up.
Yeah, Dizz. So we were up past Renmark, fishing around the Chowilla sort of area, and we probably pulled in maybe 60 to 80 yabbies across the 4 days. Ooh. So I thought that was less than what I thought we might have.
Yeah.
Probably.
I thought you could have caught 700.
Yeah, no, it wasn't nuts.
I mean, I know that'd be breaking rules.
It was probably more than what we've caught on previous houseboats, but it wasn't, it wasn't heaps. We also, we weren't diehard yabbiers over the weekend.
Yeah, it was just
But,
a bit of a side hustle.
Yeah,
hobby.
so we got enough for a feed. We cooked some up on the way home. And yeah, brought some back to Adelaide, so a good feed and a bit for bait. Did catch one freshwater catfish. I don't know if you've ever caught one of them.
I've never caught a freshwater catfish.
They're
I did see
endangered,
the
so I
post.
obviously put it straight back into the river. So that was good to catch. No other natives. Like I said, probably 40 carp. Went down a backwater and caught about 8 in half an hour, probably 20 minutes. So they were thick in the backwaters, the carp.
Yeah. Gosh, crazy to think the numbers.
And we did go and pull up to some quite nice looking timber, some logs and whatever else, some sunken trees that we thought might hold some natives, fish shrimp, fish worms, fish yabbies, and had no success. Flicked a stump jumper and a spinnerbait around a little bit, and yeah, no good, Dizz, but plenty of carp, so that's enough to keep me entertained for a little while.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and good to see you get a different species. Tick it off, mate. Freshwater catfish.
Perfect, mate. What about you? You got the squid? How many you end up with?
Oh, we would have caught probably, 30 or 40 over the weekend.
I didn't really notice you coming with a freezer bag with a couple for me on the way in.
No, we actually ate a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, we had squid. I think we actually had squid every night because
Oh, you got them on the charcoal, I saw. That's right.
yeah, I did. I put them on the charcoal again, and I thought, well, I don't really need to put that up as a Facebook post. We've already covered that, but
Little story.
I think I got the scoring done a bit better.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you do different?
No, just like as in I was better at it.
Okay.
I think the first time I didn't go deep enough on some,
Yeah.
whatever. So
You
I
did
got
the
a bit
same
better at
marinade, sweet chili and lemon?
Yeah, similar. We just sort of made it up on the fly.
Yeah.
It was good. We did it a couple of different nights. First night we got there because it was Good Friday. We had squid. Dad had caught that the day before. And we just did rings just in some oil.
Yeah.
And didn't coat it in flour or anything.
Just straight out,
Cooked
yeah,
it really quickly. Got the oil real hot. Cooked it really quickly and it was really good.
Yeah. Have a little
Really
salad
tender.
or something?
Nah, well, you did have salad. We had fish as well. Dad had caught some
Yeah.
whiting before, so that was all good.
Any whiting or you didn't get out?
Nah,
yeah.
Well, when we went round there, too many boats, mate.
Spot X.
Spot X, that's right. We'll touch on that a bit more. But squid, as we said, fishing not far from Ardrossan. Really good mark. Obviously, we had the pros come up beside us after we'd started fishing there.
Was
so
there
when
any
those two boats,
angst from the pros?
no, they were really good. So as you know, a lot of those squid pros fish in sort of top ender, no sort of cab,
Open tinny, large tinny
tinnies.
sort of things, yeah.
And I think they do that for a number of reasons. Clearly, that's more workable space on the deck.
Yeah.
But also, it doesn't catch as much wind for
Yeah.
when they're drifting. So they tend to drift a lot slower, which
Yeah.
I think is helpful,
Yeah.
particularly on windy conditions like we had.
Yeah.
So we had a drogue out and we had the the sort of sea anchor out the back, as well as just getting the anchor over just to try and slow us down because we were hooning to start with.
Yeah.
But it was amazing how well they fished. They would have been catching 5 to our 1.
Yeah.
Working probably, 3 or 4 lines.
Yeah.
And they were just absolutely cleaning up.
They are good at what they do, those pro
They
squidders.
are. It's amazing to watch, and we sort of, we did all right for ourselves. We weren't upset with how we went.
Yeah.
We didn't bag out, but we got a good feed both times.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, if there was only 2 of us on the boat, so we're only going to get 30 if we bagged out, but cleaning 30 squid's a fair effort.
A lot easier with the tumbler bag, I would say.
The tumbler bag did a great job.
Did you keep the heads for Nanagai bait?
We did keep the heads for nanny bait. We ripped the milkers off for some whiting bait. So we've stocked up the freezer over there, which is great. There's some excellent squidding ground over there, whether it be Pine Point, whether it be further down to Port Vincent, like you said earlier. So if you are, and I think it's only going to get better from here. They always do this sort of thing. If you're into, it's a bit of a winter's game, the old squid.
It is, Dizz. It is. It's always good fun and good on the table.
And while we're on the topic of squid, Harry got a big one.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That
Where
was
was
a
that? That
beast.
was down south, was it?
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. Shout out to you, Harry, if you're listening, mate. Let us know where you got it. But that was a big calamari, that one.
Yeah.
So great photo too. Love that. Rohdey, let's get on to some tuna because we do need to talk about this. Wanna Fish Charters absolutely smashing it. They got 2 on board, caught 3, released 1.
And
2
they got
on board.
2 the day before or a few days before that.
Yeah, Chris in the boat, I think, with like a 75 kilo edition and a 90 kilo.
And then went
something.
3 over 100 or
3, yeah.
2 of the 3 over 100,
Released
I think.
one, they estimated about 120. Got one in the boat at 120.
Yeah. So that's 2 trips out. Well, pretty much 2 trips out off Port Mac and 5 barrels.
Unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable.
So if you're going down there, that certainly would be my tip.
Are you surprised that they're on Troll So Hards?
Nah, 3 out of the 4 or 2 out of the 3, or were they all?
Candy cane, signature edition.
Tice would be getting a big head, I reckon.
Oh, he would be frothing.
But he did have a very good year at Warina and he's taken his good form down to Port Mac. So
He has.
I don't know how far he's travelled. From what we hear, there's a lot more around Portland than Port Mac. But whether that means they've moved into Port Mac or whether he's doing the miles, I don't know.
Feeling I saw them weigh them in front of the Portland. No.
Nah, it was Port Mac
Mac.
they weighed him.
Yeah, my bad.
But he could have headed that direction. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the season will fire up and it's been a hot start, particularly in Portland, but it's all close enough. They'll be there soon.
Yeah, absolutely, Rohdey. And we're definitely going to be watching that space because we're going to get down there ourselves this season one way or another.
We're going to get one. 3rd time lucky.
We are. 3rd time lucky. That's right. We need to get ourselves a candy cane Troll So Hard. Flacky, if you're listening.
All right, Dizz, where else are the tuna?
Marion Bay, mate. Have you seen some footage?
Yeah, so Reef Encounters got them
Reef Encounters.
and Joey Virgin smashed them and had a kingfish too.
Yeah, good size kingy.
So that was him and his brother by the looks.
That must have come out of a bust up. But they were unreal.
And you could see land, I think.
Yeah,
so it couldn't have been too far away.
Was unbelievable. It was a huge bust up, obviously, when they got him. I think they got him there's some good weather leading into Easter.
Yeah.
The week into Easter, the weather was glorious. And then it just turned at the
And I
wrong
did
time.
have someone asking me the other day where you'd be going for tuna. And I did say, I think, the Flurio's probably getting to the end of its season.
Yeah, bottom end fishing charters as well down at Marion.
Yeah.
They launch out of Pondy. They've been doing well.
But I think Marion Bay, Pondy would be probably your go-to if you want the school fish.
Yeah, I think so, Rohdey. Absolutely. Righto, Rohdey. Some lovely footage I saw. I think this was on the Fishing SA magazine page. Sharks off Emu Bay boat ramp.
Yeah,
Not
that was
far
cool,
at
wasn't
all.
it? Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah.
Must have been just sort of scavenging a few, bit of chum, you reckon?
Yeah, could have been. And I've seen quite a few gummy sharks and schoolies and that caught over on KI as well. So
Okay, yeah.
shark fishing's going well. And actually we ate the last of our flake out of our freezer on Easter, so might have to go try and get one.
Yeah, very good.
Good eating shark, underrated.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. And that was, good. Well, I mean, you wouldn't want to be sort of lurking around the ramp there when they're there, but good footage nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely.
Righto, Rohdey. One little last item coming out of the report is, of course, our colleague who's a newfound listener to the show.
Is someone down from work, is it?
Someone from work.
Yep.
Somebody must have, as we were going into Easter, somebody sort of said, you're going to go away and get a bit of content for your podcast. And one of the pharmacists just sort of his ears pricked up and said, do you do a podcast? And I was like, mate, we're
Didn't you notice that's all Dizzy's talked about?
episodes in, and I've played it over the work radio station 3 times a week.
Wake up.
I couldn't believe it. But anyway, he's sent me a message the next day saying he's working his way through the catalogue. So
good.
He's a listener, and we inspired him, mate. We inspired him to get down there. He had sort of
And
an
what he
afternoon free. Got some yellowfin whiting off Aldinga.
Oh, land-based or?
Yeah, land-based, just off the beach.
Is that a bit out of season?
Well, I mean, I think so. He said he got about 4 or 5, but they were all, quite a few of them were undersized.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
actually, it doesn't.
good fun.
You mentioned that. It does amaze me how many people are just jumping on the podcast now and do tell us they are going back through the back catalogue.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, geez. Sure, if you want to go back to episode 1, be my guest, but
you get some out-of-date news.
You're going to get a fair bit of dribble.
So a big shout out to anyone who has recently gone through all 78 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a real long car. Like if you're going to the Yorke Peninsula or something, you got 10 hours in the car.
Oh, mate.
You might knock off 5 episodes.
You'd have to go to Cape York.
Yeah, true. You might. Oh, wonder how many Tito listened to on the Nullarbor.
Oh, she would have got through a few.
Oh, she better have.
Anyway, Dizz, that's
Brilliant,
a good fishing
Rohdey.
report tonight.
Brilliant, mate. Yeah, great to catch up with you after the Easter weekend. Good fishing all round, I thought.
Yeah. Look, we didn't sort of rape and pillage the ocean or the river, but we kept ourselves entertained, and that's what we love.
Absolutely. Righto, where can they find us, Rohdey?
Dizz, get us on the Facebook and the Instagram. Keep sharing those photos with us. We'll keep putting them up on our story for the Shimano giveaway that we do each month.
Yeah, great little prize pack. And, of course, that'll be coming around before we know it.
And a big thank you to Indy from Tuna Champions for coming on as our guest.
Yep, we love that, Rohdey. Excellent to have her on. And, yeah, jump online and have a listen and share with your friends across all the platforms, guys.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Rohdey and Dizz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.